How to end an addiction in 5 minutes. You've probably tried before. Maybe you've watched the motivational videos, read the books, told yourself this time is different, and still found yourself right back where you started. Reaching for the same thing, feeling the same shame, wondering if something is fundamentally broken in you. It's not. What's broken is the advice you've been given. Most of it sounds good in theory, but falls apart the moment you're actually triggered, alone, or stressed. Today is different. What you're about to hear isn't recycled motivation. These 5 strategies are drawn from real neuroscience, clinical research, and the documented experiences of people who genuinely broke free. Not just white-knuckled their way through a few weeks, but rewired their relationship with the habit entirely. Stay with me. This might be the 5 minutes that actually changes something. Understand the loop, not the substance. Most people attack the addiction itself. The drink, the cigarette, the screen, the substance. That's the wrong target. Neuroscientist Wendy Wood's research at USC found that nearly 43% of our daily behaviors are habitual, automatic responses tied to environmental cues, not conscious choices. The addiction isn't the problem. It's the loop the addiction lives inside. From cue to craving to routine to reward. The cue is a trigger, stress, boredom, a certain time of day, a certain person. The craving is the emotional pressure it creates. The routine is the addictive behavior. The reward is the relief. You cannot break a loop by focusing on the routine alone. You have to identify your personal cue. What emotion, environment, or event almost always comes right before you give in. Write it down. Name it. That single act of awareness begins to dissolve the automaticity of the loop, because what the brain does in the dark, it struggles to do in the light. Surf the urge instead of fighting it. Here's what no one tells you. Fighting a craving makes it stronger. Psychologist Alan Marlatt developed a technique called urge surfing, originally used in addiction relapse prevention programs and now validated across dozens of clinical trials. The premise is simple. Cravings are not permanent commands. They are waves. They peak and they pass, typically within 15 to 30 minutes. When you feel the urge, don't fight it and don't feed it. Instead, observe it like a scientist. Notice where it lives in your body. Is it tension in the chest? Restlessness in the hands? A dry mouth? Name the physical sensations without judgment. Breathe through them. What you're doing is teaching your nervous system that the craving cannot actually harm you, that you can feel the pull and not act on it. Every time you surf an urge instead of surrendering to it, you weaken the neural pathway that drives the behavior. Over time, the waves get smaller. 3. Replace the reward, not just the habit. Willpower alone has a documented failure rate, and the reason is biological. When you remove an addictive behavior, you don't just lose a bad habit, you lose the dopamine hit attached to it. Your brain registers that as a loss, and it will fight to recover it. This is why cold turkey approaches collapse under pressure. Stanford behavioral scientist B.J. Fogg, in his research on behavior design, found that sustainable habit change requires attaching a genuine reward to the replacement behavior, not a moral reward like, I should feel proud, but a felt reward. Something that actually produces positive emotion in your body in the moment. This means your replacement behavior needs to scratch a similar itch. If your addiction numbs anxiety, your replacement needs to calm the nervous system, exercise, breath work, cold exposure. If it provides stimulation, your replacement must stimulate creative work, music, movement. Match the emotional function, not just the behavior. Your brain doesn't care what delivers the reward. It just needs one. 4. Change your identity, not just your behavior. This is where most people get it wrong at the deepest level. They say, I'm trying to quit. That framing keeps you anchored to the identity of an addict resisting temptation. It makes the addiction the center of your story and willpower the only tool between you and failure. Psychologist and habit researcher James Clear, drawing on identity-based behavior change theory, argues that the most powerful shift isn't behavioral, it's identity level. Instead of saying, I'm trying to stop drinking, you say, I'm someone who doesn't drink. Instead of, I'm cutting back on this, you say, that's not who I am anymore. This is an affirmation culture. It's neuroscience. When your brain adopts a new self-concept, it begins filtering decisions through that identity automatically. You stop negotiating with every craving because the craving is no longer consistent with who you are. Each small act of resistance becomes evidence for the new identity rather than proof that you're struggling. The battle moves from moment-to-moment willpower to something far more stable character. 5. Restructure your environment before you need willpower. The final strategy is the one that operates silently in the background, protecting you even when your guard is down. Research from the field of behavioral economics, particularly work by Richard Thaler and Cass Sunstein on choice architecture, demonstrates that human behavior is radically shaped by the environment we operate in, far more than by our intentions or motivation. If the substance is visible, accessible, and socially normalized in your space, you will relapse. Not because you're weak, because the human brain defaults to the path of least resistance. Always. So you redesign the path. You remove the substance from your environment entirely. You put distance, physical, social, digital, between yourself and the trigger. You tell the people around you what you're doing so that social accountability creates friction around the old behavior. You curate your space so that the healthy alternative is the easy choice, and the addictive one requires deliberate effort to access. This is called making the bad behavior hard and the good behavior easy. It sounds almost too simple, but the research is unambiguous. Environment wins over willpower every single time. So stop trying to be stronger than your surroundings. Change your surroundings instead. 5 strategies. 5 minutes. But here's the truth. Knowing this isn't enough. The gap between understanding and doing is where most people live forever. So pick one. Just one of these strategies and apply it today. Not next Monday. Not after one more lapse. Today. Addiction is not a character flaw. It is a learned loop running in a brain that is trying to protect you from pain. When you understand that, the shame loosens. And when the shame loosens, real change becomes possible. You've already watched 100 things that didn't work. Maybe this one did. The next move is yours. Mind veil. Think deeper, see more.